So today I'm going to test about the IELTS Band 9 about sample essay. The exam question is, in many countries, the proportion of older people is steadily increasing. What problems will this cause for individuals and society? Suggest some measures that could be taken to reduce the impact of aging populations. From this perspective, it should have the main idea and introduction and the conclusion. So let's proceed for the first paragraph. It's true that nowadays people in industrialized nations can expect to live longer than ever before. Although there will undoubtedly be some negative consequences to this trend, societies can take steps to mitigate these potential problems. And as people live longer and the populations of developed countries grow older, several related problems can be anticipated. The main issues is that there will be obviously more people of retirement age who will be eligible to receive a pension. The proportion of younger working adults will be smaller and governments will therefore receive less money in taxes in relation to the size of the population. In other words, an aging population will mean a greater tax burden on working adults. Further pressures will include a rise in the demand for healthcare and the fact young adults will increasingly have to take care of elderly relatives. So from two paragraphs that we hear, the first paragraph is an introduction that nowadays people in industrial these nations can expect to live longer than ever before because of the facilities. The writer talked about the facilities, the another perspective that they means some problems can be anticipated and it means that the proportion of the people that younger, the working adults will be smaller. It means that the government will therefore receive less money in taxes in population, and the aging population will mean to be greater tax burden of working adults. And in the third paragraph, the writer talked about there are several actions that governments could have that to solve the problems described above. Firstly, a simple solution would be to increase the retirement age for working adults, perhaps from 65 to 70. Nowadays, people of this age tend to be healthy enough to continue a productive working life. A second measure would be for governments to encourage immigration in order to increase the number of working adults who pay taxes. Finally, money from national budgets will need to be taken from other areas and spent for vital healthcare, accommodations, and transport facilities for the rising numbers of senior citizens. And the last, in conclusions, various measures can be taken to tackle the problems that are certain to arise as the populations of countries grow older. So the fourth paragraph talk about the positive things about the proportion of older people will steadily increase, but the problem will be tackled by government. It's anticipated with two main reasons. The first is a simple question. The first is simple solution that will be increase the retirement age for working adults, perhaps from 65 to 70, but in our countries, it depends on where they work. I mean, like in the military trend, it's come between 55 older, but in the teaching area, it depends on for teacher, it's about 60 years old, but in the University of in campus, when the professors have retirement, it consists from 65 until they are needed to be retirement. So it depends on the faculty that they work. Then the second measure would be for governments to encourage immigration. I mean, the immigrations is something that increases the number of working adults who pay taxes. So it means that the country will be large with the globalizations and people come around, people come to our country, or the immigration will be opened for another people, so the government can take some taxes from the immigration people from another country. So this is the main reason why the writer talk about why in many countries the proportion of older people is steadily increased and the problems we'll discuss for individuals and society. So the two paragraph, the two sentences suggest some measures that could be taken to reduce the impact of aging population. So the measures that write by the writer is depends on the government in the government to take some actions. There are three actions. The first is the increase the retirement age between 65 to 70, and the second is to brighten to deport the tax from the immigration people from another country, and the third reason that the money from national budgets will be taken from other areas and spent for vital healthcare, accommodations, transportation. That's the vital role for the people in the age older. I mean, the people who grow in older will use the healthcare facility and the accommodation and transport for the rising numbers of senior citizens. So it's the vital things that people would need to improve and to overcome the problems in some countries. So this is the way the writer talk about the proportion of older people that steadily increase. The first, the writer described the background, and the second, the real all the facts of the people that live longer will have some reason, and the third are how the government have some strategy, I mean some activities, some law to make the things, make the problems can be solved to the senior citizens. So let's see